is just I created a HackMD with all the functions from the previous version. So what I suggest is to agree on all the functions and what we see as capable of doing and what we do not, and have this as like the source of truth of reference. So with the UI, I'm going to be expecting the Holochain backend to have these functions, the test the same way, and the Holochain backend should like actually code the functions. I think that's a good starting point. Okay, so maybe first we can define like the functionalities that we prioritize. So create book, that should be there. How did you, yeah, request to borrow should also be there for sure, right? And then what else? Get request from by user, get pull request, create loan. So actually, I'd suggest that we keep the app like create book and list the books from a user, request to borrow and create loan, something like that. And if we have that, then maybe we can like start doing all the listing and stuff. I don't know. Do you feel that's like short enough?
Yeah, to me that sounds good. We can see, and then we can check back in, see how long it has taken us, and like once we're done, we can just write in the Zoom chat or something, and then we can yeah, just go for another iteration if we feel like we have time and energy and
right. Yeah. Perfect. So priorities, and then we have photo implementations.
But do you think that we should? Do we need to put the definition, the structs, in that as a source of truth as well, or can we just take it from the functions and build the structs that we need?
Yeah, I think it could be some. Yeah, it could be good to agree on this on the structs as well. Yeah, because it will influence what they can show on the UI and what you have to pass in as the test.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There's a bunch of, I don't know if you want to use the structs that are already there, but you can.
Yeah, I've like I've seen them, and I think that they are a very good starting point.
Okay.
So let me just grab them. Okay, all right. Oops, Barcelona weather. Hello. So here are the structs. So okay, actually we can start with the structs, right? So we have books, we have collections, we have user, we have loan. Okay, I suggest we move the collection to out of the priority and just further implementation.
I think just one thing to note there is I think that was the only way I've looked at implementing how to find all books is to have like one collection that has everything. So that's like an anchor. So I think without any sort of collection, I think it's hard to retrieve anything. But maybe we can do that another way.
Yeah, what I would do is for now just linking the owner to the book with a link, and thus you can get all the books from a person. So okay, a book has a name, an author, genre, blurb. I don't know what's a blurb.
It's like a one paragraph description.
Right. Okay. And a book owner. I feel this is really important because if not, you can have book collisions in the sense that the same book, but 2 copies owned by 2 different people should not be the same entry on Holochain. That's important. This for identify a book, we can also put the I don't know what's it called, the unique identifier of a book, this long number.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, name author, this seems fine to me. That's okay.
Mm. But yeah, I think that would be a really good thing to add, actually, if we want to think about how this could work. The ISBN thing, I think it's called now.
Yeah. ISBN, like that?
I think so. No, maybe it's not.
This is all Spanish institutions. Yeah, I think it's a good. Yeah. Okay. So, oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna share this link. Yeah, sure. Sorry. Okay, here you have it. You can edit it on real time also.
Yep.
So ISBN, that's a string also, right? Okay, I think we are good on the bootstrap. Maybe with the functions we can return and modify it, but I think it's okay. Okay, about the user. Thing is, I'd suggest also to move this into the for the implementation. Actually, what I'd suggest is all this information should not be stored on this application. It should be coming from the Personas app, because this is personal information about the user. And Holochain has this is the one flow of information that it's quite well defined. So I suggest to just leave it out for now, all the user implementation thing.
Yep.
Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. And alone book address, right? Borrower address, right? Return by.
So that's something that was meant to be just, I mean, that could be implemented in a bunch of different ways. I just thought the easiest thing was to just put a string of the date, just so that it can be viewed in the interface. And then how you set that would be like maybe today plus 30 days or today plus,
right,
as a first.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And I suggest we convert this to a timestamp, because date strings are always tricky. Timestamps can be tricky as well, like in integer, but at least I think it's better than a string. Okay, stop me whenever if you feel like I'm doing the wrong thing. Okay, so yeah, I think with these two we can go ahead and move to the functions. One last thing to add, even before going into the specifics of the functions, is that I don't know how far you want to go, but I actually in this case would implement this application in 2 modules, into zomes. Why is that? Because I see the application has 2 main functionalities: the book storing or information store application, and the borrowing functionality. And actually those are decoupled from one another. So actually you could borrow, I don't know, maybe some tool or a computer or anything you can think of.
Right.
If you make 2 modules, you can separate those 2 things, and then if you want to make an application that is sharing, I don't know, fans, because it's very hot, then you grab that module, throw it into a fans module, and you have the application.
Yeah.
I don't know, that does add a little bit of complexity, in the sense that when you are coding the loan or the borrow module, you cannot assume you are working with books. So you have to develop in address generic way. So for example, here you should not assume book address, just the address, but it doesn't add that much complexity. I don't know exactly what is your sense, maybe doing one module is enough, or maybe we can do first one module and then split them. I don't think that's gonna be a lot of work when you have the whole thing coded, split them. That's not gonna be a lot of work, I think. What do you feel?
So maybe we can do a little round, but personally, I can start to say that I really would like to see it split into 2 modules, because I definitely want to implement the tool library and the other loan things. So I think it would be great to be able to use the same module for that, and also for learning purposes. I'd like to see and demonstrate the using of multiple zomes together and dropping them in and out. So yeah, I'm all for splitting it. What about you, Hedayat? Is it right?
So for the module, you mean?
Yes. So making either having everything in one zone called books, or we create one zone that's called books and another zone that's called maybe borrowing or something.
I don't see any benefit for 2 zones. Do you see?
So what the thing was, if somebody else, or if we want to write another application that is borrowing something differently, so borrowing tools from each other, or borrowing cars, or borrowing, then we can use the same borrowing zone in that application without having to change it, and then we can just have another.
So to experience it, yes, really good idea to see how the zone is gonna communicate or something like. But in that case, maybe we need to implement a more generic zone. For example, the object A, object B, the borrower, the sender, receiver, due time, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the way you wrote it, you can just have the borrowed, instead of having the book address, just have the borrowed object address or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And then for that zone, that's going to be a very, at least maybe starting today, that's going to be a very small zone, only having that thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Okay.
And
yeah.
maybe do you feel comfortable starting with that, or Rafi, do you want to add something to this?
No, for me it's cool.
Hedayat, do you feel comfortable knowing how to start with 2 zones, or should we do this thing together as a start for that as well?
Yeah, I really appreciate to start, because right now there are 2 topics: how to start, what is the everything, and another one, it is about implementing the logic of the book, because this I mean specifically this application, for example, about the book owner, it means the logic. I can ask my question later about this one. Yeah, let's.
Okay.
If we can start together, it would be fantastic. And because I'm a little bit confused, what is the things right now, and then I can start.
Okay. Okay, no worries. So what I can do is just to like book zone with this. So borrowing or loans, how do you want to call it?
Loans, I think is okay.
Loans, okay. Loans, good. So here we have loan only address, borrower address, and return my. I think that's fantastic. Get my address. Yeah, can I just like go through this very quickly and throw the functions that I think are necessary, something like that. So I think create book, it obviously goes here, create book. But here I think what we can do, and I think this is somewhat new, is do it like this. Pass directly a book. And the result is now that's changed, some API result of an address. Yeah. So here we are creating a book, so the book entry, and then we are returning the address, so the hash of that book, just for it to work. So we can, yeah, get book should be fine. Okay, but what we can do here is address some API result of a book. Create user, we said no. Get books, I think that's nice. Yeah, for now, I'd suggest to work with only one user for now. And because otherwise you would have to have some listing of all the users nearby, something like that, and that's quite advanced. So we can do get books only for us. So we only will be able to see our books. Get my books. So I think some API result of a back books should be fine. Okay, yeah. Then, okay, we have request to borrow. In the loan zone. So request to borrow, this is the function that another person would have to call in order to borrow our book, our anything, let's say. So borrower address, right?
Item. I wanted to suggest to put the item address, huh?
Sure, seems good. Okay, request to borrow. Sure, seems nice. Request to borrow, and I think we should work with something like this. So this wouldn't create a loan, right? A loan is created here. So actually, I think we need some kind of intermediate. So what would the request to borrow function create if it's not a loan? So it's a loan request, something like that.
Availability. You
Sorry?
mean the item availability? Yes. Is already item available or it is loaned? Yes.
Not exactly that, though. I think that should definitely be in the validation logic. But here you are requesting to borrow something, but you don't have any struct to store that information.
Yep.
So you need to do something like this, loan request, right?
Yep.
For an item, yeah. Yeah, I think you need to do something like this, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking how I did it. I think before I've just, when there was actually a loan, I may have just made another link to the request or something like that. So I didn't maybe create a struct, but I think this is a better way to go, to have like there is a request, and then once that request is filled, you instead create a new entry that is a loan.
Yeah, I think so, because lots of loan requests won't be answered, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this would be better. So request to borrow should create a loan request. I think that's, yeah. And actually what we can do is just, this is a new feature. We can just pass the struct, that's it. And then create loan. What we can do here is loan request address. So we get the loan request, and then we say, okay, return by I64. So API result address.
I didn't get this point. Can you explain me what is your mind?
Yeah, about exactly all these modifications here.
Yes, loan request. It means a guy is going to loan something. It is sending the loan request. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the response? What's happening next?
Yeah. So here the request to borrow function should be called by the person who wants to borrow, right? And that includes what I want to borrow, so the item address, and who am I. Actually, it's interesting. You don't need this because you already, it's okay. You already have it, but that's okay. So the thing is that this function should store some information on Holochain for sure, but without the loan request struct, we don't have enough information to create a loan entry, right? Because a loan entry means that the person that owns the book has lent it. And we don't have the return by integers, anything like that. So this function should create a loan request entry on Holochain. And then you need a function maybe here that's get loan requests for, yeah, I think, yeah.
What is the reason of the loan request? I didn't understand the reason.
Okay, so yeah, go.
Yeah, can you say somebody sends out, I want to borrow my neighbor's book, this gardening book my neighbor has, and I send a request to it, and then my neighbor needs to be able to get that request and then say okay or yes or no or not, right, like respond to it, and then that creates a different thing, whether or not it is a loan or not. So if you decline, you don't create a loan, but if you say okay, then you create a loan. So that's why it's both a request and a loan.
Okay, so got it. In that case, there is no need to also set the period. I just want to loan this item for 2 weeks, 1 week, 10 days.
So once you have a loan, you can. I mean, it could be optional to set the date, but that's something that you need to think about in the UI of whether or not you can set like how long the period is and stuff. But as soon as you have a loan, it's probably good to have a period, or it doesn't have to be, but yeah. But for the request, you don't have to. I mean, that's also something that could be in the request, saying I would like to borrow it for X amount of time, for 2 months, or for 1 week. But I don't know if we want to put that there.
Okay, got it. I got the reason. Okay.
Okay. Do you want to leave it like that for the moment?
That's good.
Okay. So create loan is necessary for sure. So this is like the create a loan entry. This would create a loan request entry. This would create a loan entry called by the person who owns the item, right? So yeah, I think the only thing that's missing is get loan requests. Yeah, okay. Something like this should work. So we can say get loan requests, and actually we don't have to put any inputs because from we should be able to get only our loan requests, right? So the requests that affect the books I own, right? So that I can say okay and or decline. And the result could be the zome API result of a bag of a loan request. I think that should work, and I'll get loan requests. I think that's it. All this can go on the further implementation, I think, because I think this will be some work already.
Mm.
I don't know, what do you think about what it looks like now?
A confirmation, create a loan object.
Right, so I think this is what this function is about, right? Create loan. Maybe we can do like decline loan. So this should remove a loan request, right? Yeah, and this can only be called by the person who owns the item. Yeah. Okay, I think this is cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's start there.
So should I start like here and now with the Init and so on? Something like that? Or do you wanna do it yourself, Hedayat or Victor? I don't know, or Rafi.
I think it is good idea that you can start also the project, that it's gonna be in the movie, in the recording. That when we go, put it here, and then we split it up to Rust, to the function, to zome. That's your idea.
Okay. Yeah, okay, that seems fine. Would you reuse this project structure as well, or start from scratch? This is mainly empty.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's just completely. So maybe it's better to. I mean, but then it's probably even better to create a new repo, no? Or should you just?
I can
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I can delete all these files also and update the repo, and then you have like the old version on the commits, and you can.
Okay.
Yeah, and even I can like create a new branch here that says old scaffold, so that we can just look it up as a branch before. Okay. So then, do you want to do it on the last? I can do it here, right? So we are in HC version 28 alpha 1. Okay, that I think that should work fine. So what I can do is just what should I do? Remove everything in here. So yeah, I think so. Bye everything. Also the cargo, please. Okay, and then go to the folder above and just HC init MailBoox SymCode. So this is, I'm sorry, this is all the information, all the commands that the Holochain command line tools you can use. So I can do HC init, which initialize a new Holochain application. At this directory, since it's empty now, I think I should be able to scaffold. Okay, it seems it's not empty. What is here? Okay, the git. I'm gonna do some cheating here, so I'm gonna move the git outside, and then generate. This is only needed if you are like, in our case, you are reusing the same git repository, but we're not gonna scaffold a new Holochain project. This should not be like the tutorial, let's say. So now, yeah, I can do it, and now I can move the .git back in. So we can finish the cheating. Then we can go inside the directory, right? And just code inside it to see what's it about. So here you can see the Git status worked well because we are like in the same repository, and it says all stuff got deleted, but we have some new stuff. This is what it looks like now. We have test with some test scaffold for us. Let's see the default nicks. Oh, the default nicks. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and maintain the default nicks and config.nicks because the scaffold ones didn't really work for me until now. So, and actually this can be found on the sorry, on the documentation for Holonix. So this is all documented, how you can configure, yeah, it's here, how you can configure a Holochain repository. I don't think it's useful to go over that now because we already have the files from last time. And I'm also gonna conserve the Readme because it's a very well done Readme. It would be a shame to lose it. And I think that's mostly it for now. Okay, so now we have the zomes, which is empty, hignore config.nix, default.nix. We are using Holonix version 30. This is the one that we have here. So we can move to generate the zones, right? So I can just put it here and put the HackMD here so that I can see what we decided. So it's generate zomes book, right? Do you feel confident enough so that we can try the new macro way? I think it would be better to do it that way because it's easier, the syntax and so on. So just to see how it looks like, this is the old way. And the new way looks like this. Okay, so the new way looks like this. Here we have define zone, and then you have to put entries, entry, functions. It's a lot more boilerplate, and instead here, the new way, we have zone, entry def, and you can post as many functions as you like here, and you don't have to go like handle this, handle that. You can just put the code here, whereas in here you cannot put code directly inside here. I think this will be the way to go in the future. So if you are confident, we can go with this.
Go.
It depends on the version that we are using.
Yeah, but we are using the 28, and this kind of zone was introduced in version 20, I think. So it's perfectly fine. Okay, so we indicate that with rust-proc. Actually, you can see it generate help, I think. Yeah, you can see it generate the zone and the language, and default is Rust, the old way. The new way is called rust-proc. So, zones book rust-proc. Okay, so we have created a zone. Let's see how it looks like. So zones book code, and we have here our zone. Right now, it only contains a simple my entry. That should be changed to book, and then here we should write our functions and so on. But we need actually two zones, so we are gonna create, oops. the lone zone, right? Like this. Okay. So we have now two zones, and they can be totally independent to each other. They can be dependent on each other too, so you can declare dependencies. In this case, I think declaring no dependencies is fine. So yeah, that's about it for the scaffold thing.